Pick apart the passion. Pick apart the passion. Pick the passion. Pick the passion. Pick apart the passion. Pick apart the passion. 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 Pick apart the passion. 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 Pick apart the passion. Pick apart the passion. Pick the passion. Pick the passion. Pick apart the passion. Pick apart the passion. 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 Pick apart the passion. 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 Pick apart the passion. Pick apart the passion. Pick the passion. Pick the passion. Pick apart the passion. Pick apart the passion. 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 Pick apart the passion. Welcome to Pick Apart the Passion podcast. I'm your host, Tayamu Denku. This is brought to you by Cypher Dem Music, Jab Kai Media. Shouts to my dude, Rambunctious, the creator of Pick Apart the Passion podcast. Tonight, I'm sitting down with the homie, with the special guest, Chuckie Campbell. How we doing, Chuckie? Out in cold-ass Buffalo, New York. Oh. Hold on a second, everybody. All right. We're waiting for Chuckie Campbell. And what is this? Admit.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I hear you. Let me.
Okay. I got you too.
All right, there we go. It's weird because we got like a. Let me remove. No, I can't. So, whatever. I can hear you. I can see you down at the bottom. We just have a frozen. Oh, there we go. There we go. We're good now.
Nice.
The other one disappeared. Yes, but back to what I was saying. Tonight we have the special guest Chuckie Campbell. I mean, you've done a lot of things, man. You also are. You have a group called the Black Den, which used to go by Faction. Am I right? Is that right?
Yeah. Originally, it was called The Faction.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. How are you doing? How are you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Just, you know what I'm saying, getting settled in. Also teaching college or whatever. So we're getting ready to start the semester.
That's what's up, man. So, when I was talking to my girl about this episode, I had mentioned this story and she was like, "Oh, I don't know if you should do that." I was like, "Yeah, I want to do it because the story to me, since we're so cool now, I know the story, you know, it's something to look back at and laugh for me because of how ridiculous it was at that point in time. But basically, I want to tell people how I actually met you, two of you, for the first time, because this is It's just it's crazy to me. So the homegirl, I believe it was Karina was telling me about you, and she was like, "Oh, I think Chuckie Campbell is going to." What happened? Did it freeze? Oh, really? What is happening right now? Hold on. Let's try this, and let's try that. Can you hear me now? Hello? Nope. Hello? Chucky, you with me? Hello? 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 I don't know why we're having these technical difficulties tonight. It's crazy. Oh, we gonna get it right. We're gonna get it right. Um, haven't really had many of these recently. Can you hear me now or no? Yeah, I don't know. Your mic's doing something weird too. I don't know what's going on. Um, hold on. Can you see that chat over there? Hmm. And dum 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 dum. Dum. Pardon the technicals, everybody. We're gonna get it right. All right, we're gonna have him rejoin and see if we can get this right. Um, man, super looking forward to this episode too, everybody. So hopefully we get Chucky back up in here. We'll get it moving on nice and right. Just for everybody out there tuning in, make sure that you subscribe to the Pick Apart the Passion podcast YouTube page. You can also follow us on Instagram. Um, we've had a lot of special guests on the show. We just keep building, basically, is what's going on. Um, yeah, and tonight we're gonna have the homie Chuckie Campbell in here. Hopefully, we can get this thing right and moving properly. You know what I'm saying? Peace, 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 peace.
I have you just on computer audio right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it sounds good, man. It sounds good. I don't know what was going on with the mic. Like it's so you said you basically said you couldn't hear me at all, huh? Like it
No,
was
I had
just
no sound.
yeah, and then when I would hear you, it would sound like a um it almost sound like you were talking while sitting on a sander machine where you were vibrating the whole time. It's crazy.
Oh wow, crazy man. We don't want
but
that.
uh but yeah, I can hear you. I think this should be good, man. But basically, how I wanted to start this out was basically, my girl told me not to tell this story, but I wanted to tell this story because it's funny to me of how I met you, heard of you, and how our relationship went from where basically I thought that we would never speak ever in life to where we are now, to where we actually are. I feel like we're pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? Like every time I come out there, it's love. Every time you come out here, it's love. Like I feel like that's the type of relationship we have now, and it's super cool. But basically, what had happened was, I believe it was, I could be messing this up, but I believe it was Karina told me, back when she was touring, that she had somebody that she might put me in touch with to tour, and if I could book you a Chicago date. At that point in time, I was I was doing quite a few Chicago dates, randomly putting some things together. And but I um we had talked about booking you a date. I got the date, and I was looking for venues, and I found this venue that I've never played in my life, didn't know nothing about it at all. Or was it you? Was it you that booked the venue and I put the show together? I can't even remember what it was.
Uh, I think it was so at that time I was being booked by Tony Cafaro, which is the
Yes.
dude that books was booking Karina at the time. And it was this place in Chicago that we had booked. And we had been to Chicago a couple of times and had success, but this time for whatever reason, I think it was like on a different day or something. And
Yeah. And I pretty much we had chopped it up, and then basically I put the show together, like put some artists on the show, thought it was gonna be super cool, got to the venue. Uh Nobody was at the venue. I was setting up. Sam I Am stopped in, said hi to me, said, ain't nobody here. I'm gonna go down the block. I was like, what? Like, what are you? I was like, all right. Okay. So then at that point, at that point in time, one of the artists is like, all right, I'm out. The other artist still didn't show up yet that I was excited about having on the show with you. And then you had there were some troubles traveling, and you were gonna get into town late. And at this time, I mean, I had worked the next day, and I was kind of just thinking like the show was not going to end up even happening. It was going to be a bust. And then I dipped. And then you hit me up when you get into town. The other homies at the venue, and you're like, where you at? What's going on? What's the show? What's happening? And I'm like, dog, I had to dip, man. I didn't think the show was gonna happen. There was all this and that and that. And I felt bad. I felt terrible about it when you showed up. I felt real bad about it because I'm actually I try to be super professional with all my shit. The venue was talking like it wasn't gonna happen. All these random things happened, and then you showed up, and I felt shitty. I was already on my way home, but then we crossed paths and ran into each other at South by Southwest that same year, I believe. There was a conversation. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought you were gonna be like, man, fuck this dude. I'm gonna like, this dude's trash for the shit that happened. But actually, it was just a quick piece, what's up conversation. We talked a little bit, and then that was it. And then after that, we were cool. Like I came out to Buffalo, you came here, we helped each other out. It was super cool. So I feel like that basically defines how genuine of a person you are. Like, like for real. Cause there's some people where that thing would have happened, they would have been like, oh, that's that guy. Fuck that guy. And but you didn't. And blessings to you. I appreciate that because you're a super cool dude. And I'm glad we have the relationship we have. And yeah, man. So that is potentially how we met.
yeah, I mean, it was destined that we were gonna cross paths at some point. As much as I travel and you travel, we were gonna, meet at some point. You come highly recommended and spoke very highly of. Tony had said that you had done several things for artists, that he had booked in the past. I think it was like Blueprint, or might have been Billy Dries Williams. So when we were working through you, we were already thinking, this is going to be dope. It's going to work. It's going to work out. And eventually, originally, like I think like I was just frustrated because I think we drove that day like 11 or 10 or 11 hours, and it was like raining outside, and we got caught in an accident, and it was like, and the guys are like finally wanting to like kind of show up and play. And I had like, I think there were like five or six girls that had came to see the show. They're not even from Chicago. They were like from like a neighboring county over. And they were like, and it would make me more frustrated because like as we were arriving, like they were like, talking to me too. You know how it goes, man. This is indie rap.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. That's the thing is that you know, I think what frustrated me the most is I was just like, sometimes when you're in indie rap, you rock for the bartender and three or four people. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, yeah,
so um, I don't know. That's the way things go sometimes. You know. But
yeah,
yeah,
man.
well, like, I was very glad to always bring you to Buffalo because not only are you dope as an artist, but you know, we have a scene here that appreciates what you do. So
Yeah, man. And I always appreciate coming out there. And speaking of 10 to 11 hour drives, anybody out there that actually tours, that is terrible. So I apologize again because that's a grueling drive. I think I've done that a few times, and I think one of the times I did it, I think I went from Chicago to Little Rock. It was about 11 hours, and we played a show for basically what you're talking about. We played a show for like the bartender and the other artists. I think there might have been one random person that showed up, but that was about it. So drove 11 hours for that, and but it was my first time ever playing Little Rock. So that was cool to put the notch in the belt for doing that, for being able to play that spot. But 11 hours, I don't know. I haven't played Little Rock since then though. So I don't know if that was a sign like, oh yeah, maybe you should not. I don't know. Um but yeah, man. Yeah, this is super dope to have you on the show. You've done so many things though. Like before this, I actually researched some things that I didn't even know. Like like I didn't know about the A3C award. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know about the Billboard charting thing um back in the day. Like I knew you've been doing it a minute, but I didn't know some of those things. So it was fresh to see all those accomplishments that you built, especially leading up to this super dope EP that you put out last year. That was basically, I mean, you did videos for all those, a majority, and it was super dope to see visuals behind it. And that project itself was super dope. It's definitely an inspirational project, something that I think people need to hear and listen to. So yeah, it was dope hearing that project. For people that aren't aware, it's Curious Incidents in Cancel Culture is the project I'm talking about that he dropped last year. He had a lot of videos for that, and yeah, man, that project's super dope. So yeah, what do you think? What do you think keeps your drive going in hip hop today?
uh, today, wow, that's a tough question because when I first kind of came back to doing the work, it was because I had lost somebody close to me, and I wanted to kind of commemorate what they meant to me and my, um, I guess, like where I belonged in the art form, and hip hop was something that kind of, as a community or whatever, like I kind of grew out of that or emerged from it. Um, Today, what inspires me is has become a lot more personal. I think I just want to make something um, that lives up to my own standards at this point.
Hmm.
It was before most of my entire career. I wanted to make something that maybe broke through or got acclaim or got popular or something like that. And I don't think I'm working for that anymore. And then, at this point, it's more of a personal journey for me.
Yeah, man. I feel that. I feel like that's kind of where I'm at, but at the same time, it's like I feel like if I get off that path to where it's not more of just a personal thing for me, and I focus more on something to break through and everything like that. I feel like what would happen for me is I would lose the uh the excitement in music. I still have the excitement. I still have the hunger behind writing creative bars when I do things that I do. So I think that's definitely, I feel like I'm on the same plane with you as far as doing it more of a personal thing. I don't really, you know, a lot of artists out there, they talk about this, they want the fame, or they do it for the lifestyle. A lot of artists don't even do it for the art behind the music. And I mean, that's always why I started doing it, is because I enjoyed doing it. I had fun doing it. There was excitement there. So I feel like that's how I started. There was definitely a point where I wanted something to pop, but then being in music for as long as I've been in music, all the politics, all the music politics, um, when you really try to make something pop, those music politics really get in their full force, and then it makes you kind of be like, oh man, like why am I even doing this? Like I feel like that's what sometimes happens, is the politics behind the music, to where like you but actually, me and my homie Bofat, shouts to Bofat. Me and my homie Bofat, we had this conversation today earlier where we were talking about, we're constantly submitting songs to playlists and shit like that. And I mean, we do everything ourselves, you know what I'm saying? For the most part. I mean, we don't really have that much going on. I mean, yeah, I jumped on the 100 Mad thing, and that's super cool. Shouts to those dudes for pointing me in the direction, everything like that. But basically, we were talking about how we submit all these songs, and a lot of them don't get picked up by anything. Like I send them out, I send them out, I send them out, I send them out, and then like we look at some of the songs that get picked up, and we're just like, bro, what? Like, what is this? Like, what? Like, why is this song on here, and you didn't even want to put our joint on here, and then like, but then I just think about it like, I just need to stop thinking about that, and stop even caring, and I'll just submit another joint, and maybe they're fuck with that joint. The thing is, I feel like there's a lot of favoritism in a lot of the DJs that fuck with different people. I feel like there is some of that. And then also they get a lot of shit too, because everybody submits shit. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta think that too, because if I was a DJ and I'm getting all these works of art sent to me, like, am I gonna just pick the first 20 joints that are in my email? Or am I gonna actually dig through the 100 submissions that I get and actually find 20 good songs? You know what I'm saying? What do you, I mean, I've never put together a DJ playlist, so I don't really know how that works. But I feel like, I mean, if there's a certain period of time, if I'm doing DJ shit and there's a certain period of time where I'm looking through my email, I might sometimes just grab them first 20 joints as long as they sound decent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that that's what they should do, but I think that's what they do, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have to agree with you on some, and it's and some extent, like the way that they're picking people up on playlists and stuff. Some of it's favoritism because you have, some people are able to afford a publicist and push their stuff out. While, a lot of indie artists, we got to submit directly and, kind of work our network or whatever it is. But a lot of times, I mean, if you got thousands and thousands of submissions a day, there's no way of digging through all of that. So
Yeah.
sometimes it is just like kind of who somebody's, picking up, the bro that they know, especially if they're a writer. I know a lot of publicists, they talk about payola and radio, but that's also in the blog system too, and in playlist system. Some people are paying for that plug, and that plug
Oh
gets
yeah.
a person. So
Oh yeah. I mean, sending out, I mean, I had a publicist for a little bit, and then the publicist would not be it. The publicist never did what I asked the publicist to do. I was like, I want you to do this. I want you to get, like, my focus. What I want you to do is I want you to get me on these main blogs at the time when blogging was huge. I was like, I want to be on these blogs to make the shit pop. And then be like, oh, well, I got you on all these. I was like, no one looks at any of these. Like, nobody cares. Like, you got me on 50 blogs that nobody looks at. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool. You could be like, oh yeah, we got 50 blog placements. Yeah, cool. Blogs that nobody looks at. I want to be on the popular blogs. This is why I'm paying you to do the shit, and you're not doing any of the shit. And then, you know, I stopped doing the publicist thing, and because I have my own connects with blogs, my own email list and all that stuff, and I started just submit my own shit, and then noticed over time a lot of the blogs would be like, oh yeah, we can place you, just give us this amount of money and you can get on a placement. I'm like, no, I'm not paying to be on one blog. You're out of your fucking mind if you think that I'm sending $100 and some just to be on your blog. Like, no, I'm not doing that. So yeah, blogging died out. A lot of things died out. I mean, how do you really break through now? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you do it? I don't.
Yeah, no, it's very complicated because everybody makes it in a different way, you know. Um, I mean, I wish I could give like a real answer to that because, I think everybody's kind of looking for a way to break through, and there's so many talented cats out there. Every city has a ton of people that are super talented,
Mm,
but
mm-hmm.
really, I mean, the way that I've seen people elevate to different spaces, if you look at the model that, West Side Gun and them used, you know what I'm saying? Like, um, a lot of that came through consistently staying around people in the culture and in the community and then making the right moves at the right time. So they found the right features that met with the brand. They built their brand one person at a time, shook the right hands, made themselves visible in the right places, whether that was Atlanta or LA or New York City, they were consistently there. Um, so that's one way, that's one model. So you can look for, a feature and look for the community around, make yourself visible in that community. And then, um, hopefully that helps you. And then there's the other method of saying that, hopefully things will go viral. So that's like the social media method, that you could hit people with Facebook ads and Facebook ads until, um, or YouTube or Google ad stuff
Yeah.
until it get until your art becomes visible enough. Then there's the old indie slug atmosphere model that says I'm going to go to every small town and every college town and city, and I'm going to triangulate this so I play them close enough together so it builds momentum. And I'm going to revisit every triangulation at least 3 times a year. And over time, that's going to build itself up, which that model is at this point right now because of COVID, that's troubling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there are a lot of paths. I've never, like, the thing is, every time I see somebody blow, they never blow the same way. Like, nobody blows the same way. Like, years ago, and, a lot of people know me as an MC from Buffalo, but, I was born in Kentucky. And I remember when no one knew Jack Harlow, you know what I'm saying? When Jack Harlow was playing like little, bars, um, he's like 18 years old, you know what I'm saying? There's like 6 people he knows in the bar, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
remember seeing that. And then, if you fast forward now, it's only been 3 or 4 years, but he made certain relationships and Atlantic picked him up and then so it's like you look at that trajectory, you would think like it's overnight success, but Jack's been doing music since he was 12, 13 years old. So
Yeah. I mean, I mean, people kind of closed the door on this whole idea that you need to be um on a major or have major labels help artists blow up. But when you look at something like that, Um,
Mhm.
I mean, he had the Atlantic thing happen for him. Griselda made their pact with Shady Records, and then Def Jam now, the Rockefeller thing. Like, so the major label thing helped all those artists super pop. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, a lot of these people are like, "Oh, indie is where to go," and yes, but is it? Is it really? Is it really the way to go to be super successful? You know what I'm saying? For people that
Yes
are
and
trying.
no. Yes and no. Because that's the thing, is like, what are you trading? Like
Mm-hmm.
access, basically, I mean, like, the reason everybody knows who Jack Harlow is now is because of the trajectory that Atlantic Records formed for him. He could have been, he would still be playing those shows in those little bars if he just took the indie route. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even if it goes completely viral, even as an indie, you still have to, if you want to compete with a label, you got to get on the radio, you got
Yep.
to be visible and commercial, other commercial outlets, like, um, getting your songs in, Netflix movies, or get them in video games, licensing and publishing and all that other stuff. Like, labels don't have to work for that. They
Yeah.
already send the stuff over there. It's already agreed that this is going to be picked up, you know. But us indie people, we're always working to just find like maybe one person that messes with us. You know what I'm saying?
And that but see, and as indie artists, yeah, the major label thing could make you look like a superstar overnight, like that. And some people, that's what they're after their whole life. But an indie person that gruels and grinds hard and puts in all this work, I feel like just a little something of success, and that indie person feels like they're on top of the world because they know how much work that they put in to making something like that happen. So I understand it from both sides as well. I understand the people that want to get on right away. That like I get it. You want to you want to feed your family off this. Like I understand. The indie route is a slower route because if you don't have the work ethic, you know, you're not really going to be successful as an indie artist. There's tons of people that are out there that they're like, "Oh, I'm going to make this happen myself. I'm going to go viral like this and I'm going to do this and do that." And then like they don't have any work ethic. They don't know what it means to work. They don't know what it means to grind. They have no sense or even idea of what putting a tour together even is at all. And it's crazy to me because I've been doing music. This year will be 27 years. So this will be my 27th year doing music. And there's not a whole lot of people um, that I meet on the road that are doing shit that people like me and you are doing. There's just not a lot. And yes, the COVID thing was a huge blow to independent artists, especially touring artists. Because how many months or how many weeks out of the year do you usually tour?
All right, that's the way we made money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I probably was doing 175 shows a year or more, you know? Um, and to some extent too, I mean, like, without touring as the backbone, it feels a little less real. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm,
making music feels less um embodied. Like, being like, it's one thing to make a song and then that song be appreciated, or people tell you they like it, or comment on it on social media or something like that. But it's a whole other thing to like be in front of people and watching them react to what something that you've made, and that came out of you, or that transferred to them in some way that became meaningful. Like,
yeah.
that right there is different. That's a whole different kind of impact that we're talking about. Even when I started making music, like I wasn't one of those people that like hold up in the studio and like like the cool thing about hip hop is that you can rap on a street corner, or you can and that's the thing too. It only takes like one or two other people to just be crew with you to like you know to just toss around ideas,
Mm-hmm.
you know and I don't know. That's kind of like from the school that I'm shaped from. I'm from the I'm from the cats that like would beat on the cafeteria tables
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and like so I'm from a community of that. So when you're talking about maybe like the social media thing, like that's where like I don't even it doesn't feel like I'm being a real artist. Because back in the day, they call you a studio gangster or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you that you're not real unless you can spit for somebody.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And this age is completely different. There's a whole lot of differences in even the live performance. Um, so let's dive way back because this is something obviously I'm curious about. So you grow up in Kentucky, you move to Buffalo later on. A lot of people consider you a Buffalo MC. But when did you really um find a passion for the music, knew that music was what you wanted to do? Because I also know about your high caliber athletics. That I mean, you could have made something happen with that, but you got injured, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I messed up my knee. But yeah, like hip hop was something that I probably got into when I was like 12, 13 years old, you know?
Mm,
And me and my friends, we would go from Richmond, Kentucky to Lexington, Kentucky, and we'd go rap at this little bar named Yats, or whatever. They had open mic, and they let anybody in, what I'm saying, up to about, I think, 9, 10 p.m. And so all the young cats would rush in there and get on the stage and rap and battle, what I'm saying? And so
yeah.
that's where like it first started building for me. Um, but originally, like you said, I was an athlete. So I was a basketball player and went on. I was an all-state point guard. Then I went and played 4 years college basketball at the University in Tennessee, and then played little developmental league and pro ball overseas. And eventually, after I got hurt, just wasn't able to compete at the same level. So you know, a number of events happened after that. I went back to music originally, and then some other events happened in my life where um, for about I think about 7 years, 7.5 years, I couldn't do music. So
Oh man. Yeah, that's rough. But you always had the passion for it, from what it sounds like, from way back in the day. And then I also know something else that there was a small roadblock that happened not too long ago for you. You had what was that, reconstructive surgery, jaw surgery?
yeah, I guess I can just sew these narratives up together. So um, when I came back from playing ball or whatever, I ended up moving to Nashville, Tennessee with a producer. His name
Hmm.
was Billy Breeding. He still does a lot of my stuff now. He produced Curious Incidents of Cancer Culture EP. So we've been working together for years and years and years, well over 20 years. And so we had been living in Nashville at that time. We had made a number of connections. Like at that time, there was a rapper named Haystack, a guy named
Oh
Charlie.
yeah, yeah, I remember Haystack.
They were on Street Flavor Records, and we had moved down there. And through them, like I met like Young Buck and what else did I meet? Jelly Roll, a number of people. It's in the national scene. Now like now they have like some of these people have fan bases and they went on to do cool stuff. But um, we were down there. We had rented out a house with the money that I had made from playing, and then um, and put a studio in it. And when we weren't making our own music. We was bringing other people in, kind of networking with them. That's kind of like how we got connected with Street Flavor, DJ Dev, and all them. So we ended up we ended up running out of money. You know what I'm saying? So we had to move back, and when we moved back to Richmond, Kentucky, which is our original hometown. And the guy that I started doing music with, Ralph Prater, had just moved back from Seattle, Washington, and we were like planning on putting together a band and doing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And long story short, I ended up in an altercation in a street fight, and my jaw was broken in two places, and they put metal plates in my face, and it altered the way I spoke and the way that I was able to articulate myself. And so after that happened, it kind of looked like I was never gonna rap again. You know what I mean? Like it took me almost a year. I had my mouth wired shut for a very long time, and my mom had was helped me kind of like get mobility back in my jawline again, and take these, like, they look like popsicle sticks, like they're like thick pieces of wood, one at a time, until I could get like mobility back in my jaw. And that kind of took so long that like everybody moved on, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like left back
Yeah.
in my hometown, you know, not doing music. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do with all this creative energy, that I have? And so I went back to school. I got my master's in English literature, creative writing, and comp red. After that, I went to China and taught for about a year and a half. I taught ESL, English as a second language.
Damn.
And then while I was over there, I was applying to PhD programs. I got into the University of Southern Mississippi Center for Writers. And so came back to the States, went to University of Southern Miss in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and finished a 5-year program in 2 years. And all these years of time had went by during this, and so it was time to find a job. I found a job. College hired me in Buffalo, Bryan and Stratton College. So we flew up there. I was, setting up shop up there, and then right around that time, I had started in January. Around March, I found out the original guy that got me into hip hop, Ralph Prater. I mentioned his name before. He committed suicide.
Mm.
And I hadn't written raps, like I said, for like 7 years or whatever, probably like 7.5 years. And then I was coming home at night after teaching, and I found myself in a place like where either I couldn't or didn't want to write anything else but rap music. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of like how I got back into it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things happened there. Man, well, I'm glad you came back to it, man. Blessings to the homie that's no longer with us. But that definitely sounds like that whole thing happening made you feel like this is something you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like it changed things for you, like that actual event. Um so super sad, anytime anybody loses their life that's close to us, it's or that we grew up with, it's super sad all the time. So something like that happening, um to change somebody's perspective on things that they used to do or are doing, I feel like even though someone's no longer with us, that's kind of a positive for a little, not a positive thing that he's no longer with us, but a positive that that incident push somebody close to him to do something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying. Some people talk about post-traumatic stress. Um, although I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress after having my jaw broke, I kind of like to think of what happened with Ralph is the opposite of that. It was post-traumatic growth. So out of something like that, like it pushed me to kind of allow my true self to emerge and come out. I think I had been like suppressing it, and I'm still being artistic and still being creative, but I wasn't allowing myself to do the things that I wanted to do necessarily. And so it allowed me to grow as a person and get more in touch with who I wanted to be.
Yeah, yeah. Um, how did you find a hip hop band? Because I feel like I've seen people attempt it to carry on a career as an artist with a band um in hip hop. And the only one I mean there's small indie ones here and there. Um but a lot of these don't ever pan out or stick together very long. And I feel like since I've known you've had a band, and that's dope to me because there's not that many people that I know that do that aside from like you think of like the Roots or something, but there's not many. And is there many in Buffalo like live hip hop bands, or are you?
I mean, now now there's a lot of people that are trying to add like live music the way that we've been doing it for a long time. Like some people do like the whole like so I like to I mean because we have to differentiate here. I mean in Buffalo there's like Type Relevant who who have been doing it for years. They did rap and hip hop as a band, and it, very different though. Like their lead singer also sings, plays guitar, or the beats are, but it's
Mm-hmm.
a bass and guitar at once. And the drummer that you met when we was up, you know, performing, he actually drums for Type Relevant too.
Oh, okay.
He was, kind of playing with us at that time. Um, then there's Mark Lee, who he, he has a band with Marcus Edwards. Um, he's a bass player, but he has a whole band assembled with female singers. And um, uh, then there for a time was a there was um, uh, another more hard rock kind of outfit. You know what I'm saying? Where they were doing like hip hop, but it was like more like a Rage Against the Machine kind of situation. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the thing with Buffalo is that you got all these amazing musicians, and they're all Buffalo has a strong sense of hip hop culture. So where those influences are all cross pollinating, and so instead of like somebody being classically trained just wanting to play the classics, they're like I wonder if I could play like Dr. Dre on this violin. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like messing around with these different instrumentals, and trying to still be faithful to what hip hop is, because hip hop has a very minimalist spirit too.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I always thought it would be tight. I always wanted to do like hip hop band shit. Um, because I thought it would be dope. But as far as here, a majority of the artists that I know of here, they just I don't know, solo solo artists, trap, drill shit. Like there's not really there was a group, Black Elephant. Um they reminded me of the Roots. That's the thing. A lot of the bands, hip hop bands around here, or even groups, reminded me of other groups already. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. There wasn't a lot of originality in it. like to where they were different? Um,
Well, there's a lot of contention that comes along with that too. Like in our scene, especially, like I remember on both sides, like because we don't do like so when I started doing the live stuff, there was already people or a faction of um, there was already groups of people in our scene that didn't like anyone doing band hip hop
mm,
because there's a pure piece of the Buffalo scene that believes that hip hop at its roots and its core is electronic music only, right?
mm,
So and they have a point, right? Hip hop birthed out of DJs, and you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so there's a whole group of people that for years have been pushing out any live band that attempted hip hop, right? So they were kind of like, you can't do hip hop because hip hop, that's not real hip hop, you know, that really what you're doing is rock music, or really what you're doing is you're rapping over this kind of music. You're rapping over jazz, or you're so they would say that's not hip hop. Now, when we came along, um, and I didn't know that these were even issues because, like I said, I didn't emerge directly out of the Buffalo scene, like I kind of was an outsider and came into the scene and started doing music. We mixed live instrumentation with backtracks. So like stripped down backtracks of the music and then stripped
Mm,
those back enough where they married when you played them, right? So if you were decent at all at mixing, you would be able to mix the live show where the drums, sounded more powerful. And then we added horns, right? Because I always feel like hip hop has this amazing affinity with horns, like the horns come in and they're powerful the same way that the hip hop voice is powerful, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
they're noisy and they don't hold back. Like I feel like it's almost like the horns to hip hop is what the electric guitar is to like rock. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it gives that kind of improvisational jazz thing that hip hop draws from so much, and from the roots of that. So we kind of married those two worlds. And I always wanted to marry them in a way though where it wasn't any backtrack. There was a DJ that was doing this in the background, right? And then that would have been the perfect marriage because you got the DJ that's controlling this side of the music and it's still happening live,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have the musicians responding. So, you still have that kind of that synergy happening. So that was always like my vision, and we've done a lot of dope shit together. So I mean, it's worked to an extent. I don't know if it didn't get us on like Fallon or nothing, but you know, it
but
was
but I mean,
dope.
but I mean, you guys have played some. I mean, you played great festivals. Like, I mean, and this is the thing. Like playing a show and going on. I mean, I'm not afraid to follow nobody, but I know when we came out there the first time, played Buffalo, and you guys played before me and Ram went on. I remember Ram comes up to me. He's like, "Man, what the fuck? I gotta follow this." And I'm like, bro, just go do your shit, man. You got like your shit's dope. Like we'll be good. Don't worry about it. Like they're doing their thing. This shit's dope. This whole vibe is dope. Like, why you worried about that? But
You guys killed it.
but I know there's a lot of people that are afraid to go on after bands. Like they're afraid because that's a whole different element. Like you're have an MC go up there and unless they're really impressive, um, they might just go up there and play their joints off their phone. And if they're the headline going on after a band, people are gonna look at them like, the fuck is this? This is the
Yeah.
headline? Like
Not
and
true.
and 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 they're seeing like a live band just do their thing and kill it before that, it's kind of like, what the fuck? But that night was special to me, man. That night made me love playing Buffalo on tour. That shit made me like, man, I want to come here every tour I ever do because this shit was fun. Um, I mean, like the free that freestyle battle shit, that shit was crazy. I didn't even expect that shit to happen. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, it was you and Shut Eyes, wasn't it?
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Somebody else got up there too. I think it was Frigid Giant. Frigid Giant
Yep.
jumped up. Too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there was just a man. That was just. I remember that show. I remember the all the shows. All the shows were fun, man. I mean, even the intimate joint at the hostel. The shit was fun as fuck. I enjoyed it, even though my car battery died fourth day of tour. It was terrible, but aside from that, it was dope. Like it was super dope, man. Like I said, I got a lot of love for Buffalo. I really, I mean, I know I hit you last minute. I really wish we could have made it happen. But me and my lady, we actually, we traveled through Buffalo and went to Niagara Falls on this last little tour run I did, and it was. I never got that close. Like I remember seeing Niagara Falls back in the day, when I ran at a track meet at Buffalo. I ran at Junior Nationals, and this was before you needed a passport to go over to the Canada side. Obviously, we couldn't go anyway because the border was closed at that point when we were there. Um, but that time, I feel like we walked across the bridge over to the Canada side, and that's all I saw of the falls. And this time, man, let me tell you, it was crazy as fuck. Like it was scary looking too. Like we did it at nighttime, so we're like out there late at night looking at these crazy raging rapids, seeing the falls lit up. Look like some devilish shit when it was red. Like we get close, I was like, this shit is crazy. And then, um, like I somehow talked my girl into walking to the horseshoe. We walked from the American Falls all the way through the park to the horseshoe. And when we got close to that, I'm like, man, it's starting to rain crazy. And I was like, wait a second. It's not even raining. This shit is crazy. This is just all this is wind blowing the falls in our face. That's all that was going on. It wasn't even raining or nothing. We get there, we're drenched. And on that walk journey through the park, I saw 2 skunks. I've never even seen a skunk in the wild in my life until I went to Niagara Falls and I saw 2 different skunks, and one of them almost sprayed me in the face. This is what happened. This is a crazy shit. I'm getting close to look over the falls, right? So I'm getting close to look over. I look over it, and I thought the falls just went down, but there's like this little grassy knoll there. There's like this little grassy area or whatever. So I get up, I look over the thing, and there's a skunk just chilling. I was like, holy shit, there's a skunk right there. And when I did that, it got startled, put its tail up. I thought it was gonna spray me right in my shit. But it didn't. It just ran off. I was like, oh shit. I'm telling my girl, I'm like, hey, did you see that skunk? She's like, no, I didn't see it. I was like, this shit almost sprayed me in the face. I was like, this craziest shit ever. I should have took a video of it or something. I've never been that close to a skunk. And like I said, I've never seen a skunk in the wild in my life until Niagara Falls.
Dude, there's all kinds of wildlife out there. Like, I mean, it's crazy too in Buffalo. Like, we'll see in the city, see deer. Like, they're just like, they're walking around the city, kind of reminds you like what you built the city over, like this whole area is populated by wildlife that still doesn't want to leave, as far as, I mean, I'm telling you, Niagara Falls is a sight. It's a beauty, man.
Oh yeah.
It's breathtaking to even witness. And like you were saying, it doesn't have to rain. That's why everybody wears those ponchos, because the wind that comes through that little canyon right there just blows, it kind of cycles back up and blows all of that back on you, the spray just lands on you.
Yeah, man. It was an amazing time, man.
That was cold though when you guys were here, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it wasn't very warm. It was None of the days were super warm. We did get up to like, I feel like we had some 50s. Like we explored Salem, Mass one day. And when we went to Salem, I feel like it almost got up to 60 that day. It was sunny out, it was real nice. We went out there. The real cold night was when I went up, I played Burlington, played a show in Burlington, and it was super cold there. And let me tell you about this shit. This shit is crazy. When I go up to Burlington, so I use Hotwire to get cheap hotels, right? Like that's where I use that all the time. And couldn't get a hotel in Burlington for shit. And waited last minute, right, to even look at it. Ended up getting a mediocre ass hotel. Paid the most for a hotel room I ever paid in my entire life. It was like $300 for a room on a Friday night in Burlington, Vermont. And the hotel, I mean, I think it was a double tree, but we ain't have no microwave. There's no fridge. Like the pool was whack. There was no fucking whirlpool or hot tub. I'm like, dog. And the breakfast the next morning, you have to pay. You have to pay for the breakfast the next morning. And it was no better than a walk up, simple buffet line. It was nothing special. I'm like, so wait a second. We paid $300 for this room that wasn't even amazing. Like, if I'm paying $300 for a room, dog, you better believe I want a waterbed or something. I want some crazy shit that ain't in many fucking hotel rooms. I want some shit that's really popping if I'm paying that much, because I stayed at Westin hotels for $65. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I can get a Westin hotel room in the middle of Atlanta for $65 the day after the Super Bowl, why am I paying $300 for a non-microwave, non-refrigerator hotel room with no hot tub in Vermont? Come on, man. That don't make no sense.
That's terrible. Now I've been to Burlington several times. Where'd you play at?
And this time, so the first time I ever played Vermont, I didn't even play in Burlington. I played in Winooski at the oh man, I can't even think of the name. But this time I actually played at an art gallery.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Scotty, SK. He had me, the homie Subtext.
Is it the one that's kind of open on the outside?
Yeah. Homeboy Sandman just played there. Yeah, so they have like they can open the garage door. You could actually play inside too. We actually had the show inside, but they had the door open. But yeah,
Deuce Ellis played.
Oh yeah. Shouts to Deuce Ellis. I actually did a verse for him recently for a project. But damn, I need to get him on here sometime too. That would be super dope.
Deuce is dope, man. Another Buffalo dude.
Oh yeah, I've been playing shows with Deuce Ellis since 2013. I've known him and Mad Dukes for that same amount of time. And I don't know if you know this. I don't know if we put it out there in the open, but me, Mad Dukes, Fresh Kills, and Bofat came together and made an 8-song record.
I can't wait to hear that. It's gonna be great. Bananas, bro.
Yeah, it's super fresh. And speaking of records, we've been talking about it. I need to send you some shit. I know you do band shit, but I mean, this last project you put out, when you get around to touring again, this last project, is the band gonna learn these joints, or is this gonna be like a run where you're gonna do some joints over the instrumentals?
They learned like 3 of those songs. We've done them live before a couple of times. There was this thing, Band Together Buffalo, that they they basically like filmed us with big video cranes and all this other stuff.
Hmm.
And they did they filmed one of those songs. But I mean, when I originally envisioned touring on that, it was kind of like I only if I was gonna add anyone, it would just be like a drummer. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's very kind of stripped back. You know what I'm saying? So they and the way that I'm delivering everything, I want everybody to kind of hear. I didn't do any of like the double time shit. You know what I'm saying? None of that stuff. You know, I kept all my lyrics where you know you didn't ever have to mistake what I was saying. So for that project, you know, touring on that, if I ever get out on the road and get a chance to do it like I want to do it, um, you know, I would only go with a drummer. You know.
Hmm. And what do you think about touring going forward? I mean, people have done it. You know, people. I mean, you know, I string together a short run. I actually have a run I'm doing with the homie Urban Legend because me and Urban we just put out our Denku Urban Artistic Display record, and I wanted to bring him on the road with me because you know we're already working on a follow up to that, so I figured it would be cool if I brought him with on a run. He's actually never done a tour, so I thought it would be fresh, and I'm actually almost done booking that. I think I got seven out of 9 dates that we're doing, but for you, I mean, what do you feel about it? What do you feel about? I mean, Ari the Rugged Man did like fucking shit, 3 fucking months or some shit.
Yeah, he's wild though. But I mean, at the same, this is what I'm saying. I'm going back out in May. You know, I'm hoping, you know, things are going to clear up a little bit. I mean, we really don't know what this is that you know, that's been shutting everything down. You know what I'm saying? Everybody thinks they know. We don't know what long haul COVID looks like. We
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if variants are going to emerge. At some point, you know, we got to get out there and live our lives a little bit, you know, and
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. The shit ain't at this point in time. The shit ain't never gonna fully go away. We're gonna constantly have something there now because of what has happened in the world. Um, I mean, and for artists that are touring artists, um, I mean, I feel like as long as you can, there's always gonna be a risk, when you're around crowds of people, but from my experience so far, the few shows that I've done, you know, I brought my girl with me. Even though a majority of the people at the shows ain't wearing masks, we rock our masks until I go on stage.
mhm.
You know, I felt like since I wanted the tour, you know, I feel like a lot of spots require it, and you're not even going to be able to tour unless you get like some kind of vaccination thing. I got the vaccination. So like I feel like I'm trying to be as safe as you can to be able to tour and do shows. Like that you know, there's always going to be people at shows that aren't going to wear masks. There's going to be people sneaking in the shows that aren't vaccinated. There's going to be shit like that. So you're constantly going to be at risk to, you know, either get reinfected with it or get infected with it if you're a touring artist. But I mean, how long can you wait? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're only getting older.
Right. No, I mean, at this point, I think you just do your best to protect yourself and the people around you. I mean, I'm as a college professor, I mean, I'm still teaching in class. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
I'm, you put your mask on, everybody else got their mask on, they distance, you know. So, I mean, if you think about it, when I got a group of 25 students, you know, it's not that much different than me performing somewhere, you know.
And y'all do it way better than us out on the East Coast. Let me tell you, because you come to the Midwest, these motherfuckers don't care. Like you go into I played my album release show. The only people with masks on at that show was me.
Right. Yo, it's crazy. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, there's a huge difference too between New York State, like the way New York State does things, and some of my people back in Kentucky. You know what I mean? Like they've been out and tried, like, just no mask, no protections. You know, living
Yeah,
like it don't exist. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
Midwest and South. I mean, Midwest for sure don't give a fuck. I know Wisconsin don't give a fuck, especially up north. They don't care at all up north. They're just like, ah, a couple people got it. Ah, we're all good. We got it. I'm like, oh shit. like,
Right.
I guess
Right.
like it's crazy too being in a household with you know, I mean, we don't stay together, but we spend a lot of time together. Being in a household with a girl that's immunocompromised, you definitely want to try to be as safe as you can with what's going on because you never know what can happen. I've definitely known people that have passed from the virus, people at my job. So I mean, it's definitely a real thing. Um, yeah, it's not no bullshit. I mean, we see just recently, Kid Capri, uh, DJ K Slade. He was just on a ventilator. Um, I mean, it's a real thing, man. So people should definitely try to be as safe as they can while they're still trying to get back to some kind of a normal life moving forward. Because I mean, let's be honest, man. We ain't trying to be locked up in the house for the rest of our life. Um,
Yeah, that's
just
not good for you either, man. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? I mean, the real dangers here is, um, the real dangers here is that might not even be not the virus itself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm healthy and that I would survive getting the virus, but at the same time, who am I going to infect? You know what I'm saying? Or who might I pass it on to is what I worry about. Like someone else, like you were
mm,
saying, immunocompromised or an older individual or someone who might be a little bit
yeah,
overweight or obese that might struggle with the disease, and then or struggle with the virus. And then on the other end of it is, it's not really that everybody's going to die from something like this. It's that, like, it puts hospitals at capacity, and then like somebody who has like a real issue like a heart attack or has a real physical ailment that they need taken care of can't get the treatment care that they want. So it's like, on dealing with this is a real sensitive issue, because you can't look at it just directly, because it's easy for us to be like, whatever, you know even if I do get it, I'll beat it,
yeah,
because that takes out the interconnected web of people that you're also, that you love and you care about, you know. So I feel you though. We gotta take precautions, and then we have to live our life. We can't sit
hmm
here and just wait for it to completely disappear. We gotta keep making art. We gotta keep pushing the culture forward. We gotta, challenge ourselves to expand and be better artists than we were before. We can't just wait for our careers to dwindle and go away.
yeah, man, yeah, definitely. What do you think? Um, so you're you're a college professor. Do your students know that you do music? I also asked Breeze Bruin is a teacher, and when we had him on, we had the conversation of if there's students that know about you as an artist, and he had the story where someone knew who he was, and they were like, I know who you are, and he's like, oh, but he doesn't try to flaunt it like he's an artist. Is that kind of like do people in your classes know that you're an artist? Do you put it out there, or do they just know?
Well, when I first started back, I mean, at first, like I said, like I was just this started at first just me being like, I can't write nothing but raps. It was weird, and so um, somehow I got back in contact with Willie. We decided to start making music again. Now at the same time, had a new teaching gig, first full time teaching
Mhm.
gig that was really paying me. Um, and I was at a school that I felt like I could make a difference, and I was really doing well. So about the first year and a half to 2 years, like I didn't tell anybody, you know. And then things started happening. I was in this Grammy amplifier contest or whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
and I had this song, "The Streets," and it got like 90,000. It went viral. It got like 90,000 amps or whatever, and that was more than anybody else in the contest of any genre. Um, and the winner was supposed to go to the Grammys and perform it. And I technically won the contest. You
But
know,
that didn't end up happening though.
and I'll get to it in a second.
Okay.
so
Okay.
so it went viral, and I couldn't hide it no more because people at the school started seeing other people sharing it. Like that's how
Yeah.
big it got, you know. And it took a while for people to put together that Chuckie Campbell was the same person as Charles Campbell, you know, Dr. Campbell at school.
Yeah.
But then they finally put the two and two together, and like the dean called me into the office. I was like, "Yo, I'm about to lose my job. It's crazy," you know. And the dean was like, "I listened to the song. This is great," you know. So you know, so it was like, this is dope, you know. Like so, I was super scared I was gonna lose my job, but then that was like a breath of fresh air. Um, and it turns out the college kind of cross promoted with me. So they used what I was doing to promote the college, and like they wrote up some stuff on the college blog and then sent it out to like the newspaper, and it got covered in all these different ways. And so that was a relief. But then after the contest was over and everybody was celebrating or whatever that I supposedly won, they disqualified the song for the use of a sample because I know. So the fact that it had a sample in it, they said that they couldn't put it in commercials, or they couldn't use it for all of these different promotions that they were supposed to use it for, and so they disqualified the song. And so that's the Grammy Amplifier story. But that's the first time that anyone at my college learned that I did music, and then from then on out, you know, it was I ain't gonna lie. There's been times where like I had conversations. Like there was one year where I had ended up having a conversation with my program director, and he was like, you know, you're taking too much time off. You know, I was gone every weekend, and, you know, and I would take off like if I saw like a break coming, instead of like just taking the break and doing the shows, I would take a week off the back end of my classes. You know,
Yeah.
I'd be responsible about it, but you know, I would take a week off. That last week, most people aren't doing anything but turning stuff in anyway, you know, and I'm just grading it while I'm on the road and then sending it back to them or whatever. So I would take a week on the back end, and I'd take a week on the other end and expand the tour into like 25 dates or something, you know. And then that started like, to them, they were like, all right, well, you're not technically working for us those 2 weeks, you know. So that's a conflict of interest, you know. So there's been two different ways of looking at it. They've been, you know, at some point very supportive, and then at other points they've been like, well, you know, you got to watch how much you take. And but I mean, I have to say that they have been incredibly supportive. I played like Bryan and Stratton College events, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they pay the band, it's college sponsored, built-in crowd, you know, like those are good gigs. And you know, some of the people that gave me a little bit of friction previously before, they're not even with the college anymore. So like at this point, I'm so far in, so many years in, not only do my students like immediately know, like I write it into my syllabi now, you know, everyone knows I rap and do music, and that I'm an artist, which originally I didn't see happening. But
Yeah, man. Well, that's crazy. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I did want to talk a little bit about this project. Um, the most recent one you put out. This is the most recent one, right?
Yeah,
The
curious and
yeah,
cancel culture.
yeah. So a lot of people, a lot of people strayed away from putting out music in 2020 because of the events that happened. Uh, did you already plan that this was the year you were going to drop this? Was this already a project that you had in the can ready to go, or did you finish it during um the start of the pandemic?
I think I started writing in like February. I think I
Okay.
finished everything in like the end of March or April, or probably the front end of April, because I think we
Yeah.
released it in May or something, or June. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
it was a June release. And then and then you did a lot of videos for it. So was that your original plan to do visuals for this, or did you feel like these songs needed visuals after you finished the record?
Well, I think that, but I couldn't go on the road. I think that's really what it was. You
Mm,
know, I've lived on the road for all these years, and um, we had built all this momentum. You know, and some of it was just like probably a little bit of trepidation that I was going to lose all of that. You know, everything that we had built, that whole base of people.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We were finally getting to a place where like we were showing up, places after doing them 3 or 4 times, and we had a good crowd, and people were buying lots of merch, and we were getting paid like we deserved to be paid.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I got to figure out something to keep this going. And then at the same time, all of this craziness was happening. Like the world just like flipped upside down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I was just like, you know what? Like instead of writing about something else, just write about what's in front of you. You know, just
Yeah.
look at. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean 2020 a lot of things happened. Um from the the injustice marches, uh cancel culture definitely showed its face heavy in like I don't remember it being as crazy as it was until 2020. Like I know there was glimpses, but like man, I mean there's definitely some people that deserve to be X'd. You know what I'm saying? Like a R. Kelly figure deserves to be X'd. The thing is he wasn't for a long time. like,
Right.
like after that whole shit happened, he still wasn't X. People are still bumping R. Kelly. People are still supporting R. Kelly, and then then even more shit comes out, and then you're like, oh yeah, this dude's a scumbag. He deserves to be X'd. But I mean, now you got people canceling people like for no reason, like just dumb
Yeah.
shit.
I think it's just like I think it's an I think it's like it, I think it's a self correction. Like the world is self correcting itself. Um,
Mm,
like, and when that happens, there's been such tragedy. When you have so much tragedy, the the tendency is to want to overcompensate in the other direction. You see, like, I mean, it's not. I mean, the injustice towards black people in terms of brutality, mass incarceration, all of that stuff. If you can go back, and for years that was just
oh
happening.
yeah, it's been happening for a long time.
Like imagine, like, like if it was a fist fight, people would be like, okay, you know, you hit me with this blow, you wouldn't hit the other guy just as hard. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's kind of like that can never happen. Like 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, mass incarceration, unequal educational access, redlining, police brutality, injustice happening on camera, George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, like all of these things, there's no willing equal approximation of power that could really shift back the other direction. So instead of it being targeted, I feel like people's emotional compass is off. And so no matter what it is, whenever they see any kind of what they perceive to be unfairness, the approximation is to jump immediately on that, even if you don't know if someone's innocent before being proven guilty, or any kind of regular idea of justice where we would weigh things or think about them before we would act on them. It gets thrown out the window because people are like, we've had enough, we're tired of this, and it's time to, stop talking about it and do something about it. I feel like whenever that is good to an extent, there always is a time for action and not just for words and conversation and discourse. But when you move in such an extreme space where there's no discourse, where you've ruined the bridge where people can have civil conversation and weigh matters in a way that's logical or ethical or moral in any way, then now you have a breakdown of communication. I mean, that always leads to physicality, leads to war. You know what I'm saying? When two countries can't work it out peacefully, time to drop some bombs. Like when two people can't work it out civilly on the street, they throw fists. When people give up on the hope of discourse and communication, then now whatever perceived unfairness on the other side of that, people are always trying to tit for tat, but like, the old adage says, eye for eye makes the whole world blind. We'd be in a situation where people end up getting maybe the brunt of things that they don't entirely deserve, but this is society's way, the people's way of saying we're tired of putting up with all this,
Yeah, man. So this is a great record. This is a great project that you dropped and put out. The visuals behind it are great. So I mean, yes, I know not being able to tour definitely sucks for an independent artist that's used to touring, but this is amazing piece of work. The visuals make it even extra amazing. Um, I definitely want people to go out and get it, uh, or look at the visuals, but definitely go out and get it and support independent art. Curious Incidents in Cancel Culture, Chuckie Campbell. You can go on his Bandcamp, and all that. Is there any physical merch of this, or is it just?
Yeah, on www.chuckiecampbellmusic.com. There's a whole merch site. We did a whole merch line for Curious Incidents in Cancel Culture. There's like, like they got the athletic wear for the girls. They got like swipe right. And, we got hoodies that say basic, and everything is kind of built on all the concepts of the record. We got t-shirts that say participation trophies on them.
Yeah, I love the record, man. I want people to go bump it. I want people to watch the videos. You know what I'm saying? Um, I tended. I mean, unless you want to get into it, I mean, I could play joints, but I've kind of I've enjoyed more conversation um recently on the podcast as opposed to displaying the music. And I think we've had great conversation. I want people to go out and get it. You basically broke down um, you know, the whole idea of the cancel culture. We spoke about that. Um, but what method goes into you writing songs? So you have a live band. Um, when you write songs with the live band, is that at a studio session? Is that at a rehearsal, or are they creating something? Because it's way different. It's way different from writing just. Obviously, these songs are not, live band songs. We already discussed that. But when you write songs with a live band, how different is that, writing hip hop songs with a live band as opposed to just writing to an instrumental that I'm playing on repeat? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, enough. So, like in the past, what we've done is I would have um, I would have Willie Breeding would kind of make a skeleton for us, and I would start writing to that skeleton, and then afterwards, um, we would um, we would take that skeleton and build around it. You know what I'm saying? So it'd
Okay.
be like everybody working around that same thing. Um, and that's a lot easier than just like writing with the band per
Oh
se.
yeah.
Like you say, a lot of times with a band, you just catching the vibe, and then a lot of that stuff has to, kind of come, it has to come immediately
Mm-hmm.
from, you know, which isn't bad. That's dope too. But you know, um, sometimes, like especially with some of the music that I've written in the last couple of years, it's been um, more concentrated. Like I sat with it for a long time and thought about what I wanted to say and made sure that the concept made a larger story arc or made a larger kind of it all fit together in one big puzzle piece. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And that's super dope. And that goes back to you saying that you're doing this more for um your personal, because a lot of a lot of context and ideas that seem to be going into your song making definitely seem like things you definitely want to touch on and talk about in your lyrical format, the way that you string your words together and create concepts and ideas with the pen. It definitely does that, and that's super dope. um like I said, everybody tuning in, definitely make sure you go out and you get this EP, this project. He's got the whole physical merch line, Curious Incidents in Cancel Culture. Go out and get that. You can go to his website. What's the website one more time?
It's www.chuckiecampbellmusic.com. So
Yep.
Chuckie, Chuckie, Campbell is spelled like Camp and Bell, Campbell.
Yep, there's that. Or you can go to the Chuckie Campbell Bandcamp, and honestly, if you type in Chuckie Campbell in your search browser, the Bandcamp comes up. It's not that far down. I did it myself, and I saw it. It's not that far down the list. Or you could type Chuckie Campbell Bandcamp. His Bandcamp will pop up. What's your most what would you say social media wise that you use more than any other one that people can stay in touch with what you're doing, or see the most recent things, or even get in touch with you personally if they want to seek you out for getting you on a show or a feature or something like that? What do you use the most?
I usually Facebook and Instagram is best for me. As far as TikTok and some of these other platforms, I'm not on them a whole lot. People message me on TikTok, I won't even see a message for like months. You know what I'm saying? Like the primary reason I ended up getting on there is because um my little girl, you know what I mean, she makes videos on there. So um that's the reason. But
Yeah,
as far go ahead.
yeah, I don't really. I mean, I have a TikTok thing. I literally just put up rap videos. Like, I don't really. It is what it is. I think I'm waiting for somebody. I think I have it because I'm waiting for somebody to use my song in their random video,
Right.
so I can see what they do with it.
Right. You know what? I wish I had the stomach for Twitter. I'm on Twitter, and years back when the Grammy Amplifier thing popped off, I got a couple thousand people that follow me or whatever. Um, but now it's like dead. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have
Yeah,
patience, like, to respond to people on there. And I don't
Yeah,
know.
and see me, like I got on the Twitter and I feel like I fucked with it a little bit here and there, but I never during the thriving years of Twitter, I wasn't fucking with it. And then people were like, "Oh, you need to get on Twitter." And then when I got on Twitter, it was like, yeah, I don't really use it that much. Like I have all my shit linked to it. So if I post something, it goes to my Twitter too or whatever. But I think the main reason why I even kept Twitter around is because when blogging was popping, all the blogs would be on there and they would tag you in the songs that would go on. So that would be like the main reason why I even continue to fuck with Twitter. But I barely post on there. I barely talk to people on there. Like my main shit also, Instagram, Facebook is basically what I use as an everyday tool for promoting and pushing shit like that. But yeah, man, this has been great. I enjoyed having you as a guest. Did you have a good time on here? Was it good?
Oh yeah, man, it's always dope. It's always dope, man. I appreciate what you guys do. And um big shout out to Ram. Like, I know he moved to Austin, didn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is in Austin, Texas. I don't know if you recently saw he damn near cut off tip of his finger today.
Yeah, I saw that today. Man, I was just wondering. I was like, "Yo, what would he do?" Yo, that's wild. But no, peace and love and blessings to him and you. And you know, there's so much more that is happening down the line, man. I'm just honored that you asked me to come on and be a part of this, man. You guys have some super dope guests. I'm always tuning in.
That's
Um,
dope, man.
yeah,
I appreciate that. I appreciate the support, and I support you, man. And I look forward to more music that you're doing. I look forward to hopefully sharing the stage with you again in the future. Definitely got to get back out to Buffalo. Um, I wish that this last trip, instead of us not being able to get something in Buffalo, that we would have at least been able to link up, and just kick it for the vibe. But it didn't happen this time. But there'll be other times, man. I think it's definitely gonna come back full circle to where we'll be able to share a stage again in the future or whatever and make some things happen. But on that note, this has been Pick Apart the Passion podcast. I'm your host, Tayamu Denku. Tonight we had the special guest, Chuckie Campbell, on here. This is brought to you by Cypher Den Music, Jab Kai Media. Shouts to my dude, Rambunctious, who is the creator of Pick Apart the Passion podcast, where it's best to pick apart yourself to get to your passion. And in the words of Ram's father, we're going to leave you with, is it better to be right or kind? And we'll leave you with that. Chuckie Campbell, it's been super dope. Appreciate you, family. We'll be talking to you soon. I am going to send you something. We need to get on a track. It has to happen. I'm telling you. But you have a good night, sir.
you too, brother. Have a good